All right, everyone, we're going to talk about the top 10 tips that every beginner project manager needs to know to get started on their very first project. Hello and welcome to all project management enthusiasts. Today I want to talk about the top 10 tips that I have for those of you who are new to project management and you've been given your first project and are interested in knowing what is the quickest way to make sure that you are going to be equipped and ready to take on this challenge and be successful in your first project. I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of you who have been interested in project management and getting ready for your first project. There's a lot in project management to cover, but I think with these top 10 tips, you're going to get the most condensed and quickest way of what you need to focus on to prepare for your very first project and be successful at it. I've got a lot to cover today, but stay tuned to the very end. I will talk about the recipe for success and becoming the great project manager that you're striving to be. So let's get started. I'm Suri Bahrami and I'm a project management professional certified and a practicing project management leader. Number 1, project management taxonomy. Know your project management language and terminologies and what they mean and how they are used. Today I'm going to list out the top 10 key project management terms, so take notes. At the very end of the video, I'm going to list out the definition for each of those as well. Understand the definition of a project. What is a project and what is the difference between project and operation? What is scope and how to identify it? What is a charter and how to prepare one? I have a video specifically on charter that I'm going to link above and below so you can access for everything you need to know about a charter. What is a project schedule and how to put one together? What's milestones and how to do resource management and budget management? Who are stakeholders? What are your dependencies? What are your assumptions? Know the difference between risk and an issue and how to do risk management. At the very end, I will have a list of all the definitions for those terminologies. Number 2, understand your project management methodology and project lifecycle. There are different types of project management methodology, so understand what is your organization and project environment using to manage their projects. Are they using waterfall or agile or scrum or Six Sigma? Regardless of what those methodologies are, understand what it is and make sure that you educate yourself on that methodology. On top of that, educate yourself on the PMI 5 project processes, and that's initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. I do have a video specifically on that topic as well that's going to give you a quick understanding of that project management lifecycle. 3, communication skills. 90% of a project manager's responsibility is communication. So it's very important that you polish your communication skills and understand how to communicate with your project team versus the rest of your stakeholders or your sponsors and executives, and make sure that you target and customize your communication to each of the audiences accordingly. Understand how to do written presentations for each of those audiences and understand and how to draw up a communication plan. Number 4, project status reports. Every project manager is expected to provide status of the project on a timely manner to the different audiences, whether it's your stakeholders or project team or your project sponsor. Key components of a project status or status report is the project and an executive summary of where the project currently stands. Identify the time period that you provide these status updates to your audience and make sure that you provide them consistently and on time. Whether it's on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis, you want to provide the health of your project schedule, project budget, and scope. You should include what are the accomplishments for that time period and what are the key activities that are coming up in the next period. And if any of the tasks and milestones are on track or off track, indicate this whether using a status color or a key term indicator that says in progress, completed, on track, off track, or at risk. You should also include the top 3 or 5 risks and issues that are currently open and need your project stakeholders' attention. If your project has a budget, you might also want to indicate what your budget is and where do you stand with that budget. Number 5, know how to create and manage a RAID log. RAID log stands for risks, actions, issues, and decisions. You can create a table or a spreadsheet where you document all the risks and issues, actions, and decisions that are identified throughout the project in one place. Some of the common key components of the RAID log are the item and a brief description of each. If it's an issue or a risk, what is the mitigation plan? Who is the item owned by and when is it due and what is the status? Is it new? Is it in progress? Has it been completed? Is it past due or canceled? You also want to indicate the priority of the risks or issue or the action. Number 6, your project team's roles and responsibilities. You want to make sure that you clearly define and document your project team's roles and responsibilities. Your project team includes the project manager, yourself, a project sponsor, possibly a steering committee, your various project stakeholders, your project team members who are the subject matter experts, or a functional or technical lead or a project lead. You should also know how to put together a project organization chart and define each of their responsibilities. Number 7, how to put together a project schedule. Every project needs a project schedule, regardless of what tool you use, whether you can use a spreadsheet, such as Excel, or a project management tool like Microsoft Project. Regardless of the tool itself, the concept behind all of them are the same. You need to understand how to break down your project into tasks and activities, or the work breakdown structure. You need to identify the smallest component of an activity, be able to sequence them in order, understand the dependency on one another, and who is responsible for delivering the task, and by when do they need to get it done. You also want to keep track of either the percentage complete of those tasks or the status, whether it hasn't started or is in progress or it's been completed, and whether it's completed on time or it's past due. I also have a couple of videos regarding work breakdown structure and putting together a project schedule using an Excel spreadsheet and developing a Gantt chart that I'll include the link above and below for your easy access. Number 8, leadership skills. As a project manager, you need to gain the trust and respect of your project team members and as well as your management and sponsor who have put you in charge of getting the project done. You need to be able to delegate and be firm on holding your team accountable after clearly defining and relaying the roles and responsibilities that they've been assigned to do. Be able to handle conflict resolutions and facilitate effective project meetings, which I also have another video specifically on that topic. You can find the link above. As part of your leadership skills, it's really important to develop your emotional intelligence, be able to assess and sense what is going on with the project team and the audience that you are leading, and how to be able to respond and understand where there may be challenges or lack of clarity that you'll be able to respond and be able to remove obstacles from your project team so they can do the job that they were assigned to do and make sure to keep the project on track. Number 9, get certified. One of the key things that shows your commitment and expertise in project management is having a certification. While getting a bachelor's degree may not be a requirement to become a project manager, it does serve a couple of purposes. One, as part of the coursework, there may be project management courses that are made available as part of that degree. But also getting that degree may satisfy some of the requirements for getting the PMP certification. With or without a degree and with or without an experience, I've put together a video specifically on comparing which certification is best for you, where it compares the Project Management Professional or PMP and CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. So check out that video if you're interested in understanding which certification is best for you and what you need to be able to qualify for each of them. And number 10, manage change. As you know, if projects always followed the plan, there wouldn't be any need for us project managers. You should always be able to predict and expect changes and be able to respond to them. You want to make sure that you are always prepared with your project management tools and techniques that you learn from your coursework or your certification and experience to be able to respond to any changes or obstacles that come along that might affect your scope, your schedule, or your budget along the way in order to be able to bring the project back on track and make sure that you meet your project objectives successfully and get it accomplished on time and on budget. The last thing I want to share with all of you is the secret recipe to success, and that is don't be afraid of failure. There will be many projects ahead of you that you might run into challenges and obstacles that you might not be able to figure out the very first time around. It's the ability to learn from these mistakes and failures that make you a successful project management every time that you do another project. There is no shortcut to experience, but you do have to start somewhere. So I'm hoping that these top 10 tips give you enough to get your feet wet and get you started on your first project, but do expect challenges ahead. Those are good things, and the more that you experience them and the more number of projects that you experience in your future continues to make you a better and better project manager. So I hope that these tips have been helpful. Stay tuned. I'm going to list out the project definitions that I spoke about earlier in the video. And if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button so you'd be notified of my future videos. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next week.